Hello, everybody, and welcome to your screens all over the world. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. We have the pleasure today to have a very knowledgeable chap in our conversation, Thomas Maiwald-Immer, or as his colleagues call him, Thomas 2.2, yeah. In German, it would be Thomas zum Quadrat or T2.
Yeah, T2. It's actually
T2,
the right spelling. Yeah.
Okay. As he has two surnames, yeah, Maiwald-Immer. That is, if I get it right. Before Thomas has an opportunity to add some to my introduction, we would like to tell you, dear audience, that we will be the three of us today, as our colleague, the other Thomas, is on the road. And we would like to give you an opportunity to discuss and chat with us. So feel free to put in comments, which we then see and would like to integrate in our vivid discussion we have planned. So utilize the comment options if you see us in Facebook, YouTube, or on LinkedIn. Now, saying this, Thomas Maiwald-Immer has built a notable career at Question Pro GmbH, where he currently serves as the managing director for the regions Germany, Austria, Switzerland, and Poland. He began his journey with the company 7 years ago as key account manager. Over the years, he has taken on various roles, each contributing to his growth and the development within the organization, which is extremely nice, such as not growing from oneself, but also let the organization and the team grow. His professional background is marked by a strong focus on customer experience, market research, and employee experience. And before joining Question Pro, Thomas was involved in the introduction of digital customer feedback in German retail, which sparked his passion for customer experience, which is a cool thing. At Question Pro, Thomas values the company's culture of learning and development, which has allowed him to explore international cultures and broaden his horizons. He appreciates the mentor program, the freedom to develop new ideas, and the open feedback culture that exists at all levels. What have I missed, Thomas?
That's a good question, Ralph. So maybe some private stuff, which are the most relevant one. I have a lovely wife and a really lovely kid, Miko. He's 2 years old. He keeps me engaged. Yeah, this is my other passion in terms of customer experience and research. And maybe as you also have a lovely podcast, this is also one of my hobby. We have the podcast in Germany, because some also have to educate the German audience, because there are so many great podcasts in English. It's called Viertel vor 12, means brain food during the lunchtime, where we offer them, exchange from experts and also insights from our projects. We're all about the experience measurement and market research.
So
I'm super happy that I got invited from you guys.
Hey, it's a pleasure to have a colleague, to say so, here on the stage. And as we are going over a lot of channels, it's the freedom on our side is that you can view and listen, or simply just listen. Now, Question Pro was for me a very interesting point. I had the first question mark in my face, such as, gosh, who's Question Pro? So if you could help us and the audience a bit, who is Question Pro? What is the company about? And what are your core competences?
Perfect. I would love to do this. So actually, Question Pro is pretty old company for an IT tech company, because we got founded from Vivek 2025. And we are actually operating in the 3 verticals: customer experience, market research, and employee experience, which is quite huge for an a self-founded company because we don't have any investor capital in us. So everything is built by Vivek, which is for me most impressive because we compete against Medallia, Qualtrics, who are globally the biggest player. And even from the feature comparison side, we can compete with them. And doing the recent acquisition from C6, which might some of the audience knows, it's customer journey mapping, or actually one of the best. We implement this in our Question Pro environment, even as a do-it-yourself approach. This is for us the biggest strategy in comparison on this. And on the other side, it's really the research part, which makes us unique because we are combining the qualitative and quantitative market research. So you can either use our survey platform for conducting ad hoc studies, even with Conjoint and MaxDiff, which are pretty advanced market research methods, or you can even build a lovely online community where I love to explore this, maybe another session. We really can combine the qual and quant methods. And on the employee experience side, where you also know that employee experience is such important as customer experience because both are actually connecting so deeply with each other. It's really the Pulse service, engagement service, all about the employee journey, which we are conducting. And yeah, this is a Question Pro.
Cool. And you just mentioned some colleagues in the market, such as Medallia and Forrester, if I kept
Forrester as well, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some in mind. It's always fascinating to do field research and also enable organizations to do their own stuff with tools which you can supply. What is your personal understanding of customer experience? As I started off in getting you involved that in retail, you got addicted a bit to that area.
Yeah, and maybe to give you the broader insight. So
yeah,
I studied actually economy, and I also started working in events and barkeeping when I was 17 or 16, I forgot.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got this job interview by startup, which was really focusing on retail, where you had a stand, a terminal, where you had a tablet in for customer feedback. And it was actually new to shit. I never know that, surveys are really existing in this age. And this was also quite intense and lovely time when we talked I was visiting more than 3,000 stores in Germany by the different suppliers, which we had, mostly the two biggest in Germany. And it was quite interesting to talk to them and understand what is their issue. And the hardest way was actually for me to give them the importance why customer experience is important, because during this time, the economy was good, they was making a lot of money, and why we should do this, right? They can come to me. And this was for me the biggest challenge, where I was seeing so much success when the people understand this. So it was for me also kind of a mission, especially in Germany, if you compare this to the US. Everybody knows about the digitality, but in Germany, we are always behind the US, let's say this. And this was for me a great mission, actually. And I learned so much when I talked to the people, tried to convince them. There was funny stories that they was closing the door and was telling to me, hey, you'd have to give me 1 million and I will open the door. And I told them, I give you 2 if you open. So to understand the importance of customer experience took quite a while, let's say this. That the people understand why you are doing this. And this was for me the greatest gift which I got from the job, and where I probably got also the passion in to really talk to people about CX. Why is this important and why they have to focus on this? Because there's, I guess, the biggest gap in the industry that we, as let's call it CX fans, CX lovers, have to really talk to the people and explain them why it is important again and again and again, and why they have to put the customer and the employee in the center of the organization.
Well,
very, very well. Masha?
I wonder why consumers are still in that mindset when faced with reliable facts and figures. Why is it customers still cling to their original opinions, even when confronted with facts that negate that?
Yeah, this is a good question.
Yeah, if we could, admittedly, if we could answer that, we wouldn't have to do the show anymore.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. What I recently observed, especially on the C-level area, that there is so much pressure in the economics, and there are also certain problems in the industry that this might be, a topic which they're prioritizing, because they have so many other things on the table that they say, this is something what we have to push on the left side. But there was one lovely statement which I recently was seeing: CX is a new battleground, because it is. Because the battleground is how the customers will come to the organization, and how actually the organization will survive in the next years. And if they are not focusing on customer experience, they will die, they will go. And we recently just saw, and also in the German economy, that big players in the touristic industries going bankrupt, and this might be one of the biggest issues, that they are not focusing on this.
It is quite interesting to observe, and that is an aspect I haven't thought about too detailed, such as the idea on those aspects in the tourist industry, for instance, or in car manufacturing industry, where a lot of voice of the customer, to say so, is not listened to. So they have to either make big noise, make bambule, as you called it earlier in the promotion aspect, or they have to show that they are not satisfied with what they got delivered, or that they miss the real value for the money. It is quite common in some industry areas, such as in the software industry, where you regularly try to get an information on customer happiness and user satisfaction. And indeed, in the ERP, enterprise resource planning area, and in the CRM arena, there are dedicated customer satisfaction surveys done from several companies, which are benchmarking those in a complete view, such as you would see these waves and nucleus research approaches and others. And those I was reflecting on are in Switzerland and in Germany done. And being a part of those research teams, I was quite impressed that there is a lot of differentiated feedback of users, which is honestly non-biased. You get a lot of very honest answers why a software is not as good as it was suspected, or as it is even better performing as expected. And this is very important if you are in the area of advisory and you try to support organizations to get the right fit for their organization in selecting a software. Now, saying this, the most popular research on customer satisfaction is from JD Edwards, which are doing these stuff for automobile, such as are your service in the car dealership is okay? Is your service organization in that car dealership doing a proper service for your car? And is maintenance and whatever is done in a proper way? So I guess that they have dedicated different measurements. And now we would like to sneak in a bit in what you did for a survey, such as in one of the more popular larger business-to-consumer surveys which have been existing in the German-speaking Europe was the service barometer or the customer barometer, which was a bit like a weather station and giving you some hints how happy are organizations with the delivered services, such as in banks, insurances, with doctors and all that. And they took the so-called NPS, Net Promoter Score, very often as a hint. So do still a lot of customer organizations in the software market. Now, as I read a lot of stuff where especially marketing people are questioning if NPS is still the real thing or that there are even better approaches. And it was a very interesting battle. And so I took the provocative question, is the NPS still alive or is he dead? What is the observation on this?
Yeah, for me, it's clear, yes, it's still alive.
Good.
And as you also know, there are so many discussions about this, which is the right metric. Should we use the NPS? We recently also, or I also was seeing on LinkedIn a lot of a debate that, you know, software provider like Qualtrics were color coding the NPS, where it's probably also on the customer side, which is also incorrect from the methodic and statistic point of view. On the end of the point, and this is my brutal, honest opinion on this, it doesn't matter which scale you have. If you're using a CSAT 5-point scale, NPS 10-point scale, it's really about how you're structuring your survey from the methodology and what you're doing with this. Because all of this discussion about the NPS is totally useless if you're not doing action. And what I'm seeing is that too many CX professionals in the industry are discussing internally with others and also with the C-level, should we use them or not? And it's just a time-consuming stuff which they should shut down, actually. I'm a big fan, actually, from the NPS. We also have an NPS Plus, or we call it Ask Plus, to really get the insights from the NPS. And if you're doing this on a long term, you always get the hint out, the trends, and this is what you need. And the customer experience, you need to get alerted when an NPS or a satisfaction score or what else is sinking or if it's increasing. And the most important thing is what you're doing with the opportunity. So means when someone is giving you not a super happy answer on this, because this is the most important thing, where I'm seeing that too many organizations are not focusing on a close the loop. They are still doing this on the analysis or on debating, should we use the NPS or not? Yeah, that's my opinion. Looking forward, maybe Marshall, what's your opinion on this?
You have to unmute yourself, my friend, such as if no train or fire brigade is running through your living room again.
Oops, sorry about that. I was clearing my throat and forgot to turn the mic back on. My opinion of NPS is that it was a very good place to start back when we first started using it. It's not enough. It doesn't really get to the why of promotion or detraction. Mm-hmm. And there are a number of other scores that can be looked at. In fact, I was going to ask Thomas to give us a quick walkthrough of some of those other factors: CSAT, CHS, PMF, which is product market fit, which I have to admit I never heard of before today. Can you just give us a short recap on the different score methods?
So in Marshall, I would quickly also add this. So that's why I was telling this also. We have this, I don't want to call it maybe advanced NPS, but we are actually doing exactly the same. So we ask the NPS, then we have a driver, and then we have an open-ended to really understand the why behind it. Because if you are really going on a global level, you always have some differentiation, even about the culture themselves, right? The Germans, the US, the Japanese, Chinese, and so on. So I guess this knowledge is then also quite important, but to your point, it's really important to ask this why. So that's why we are always doing this, where you're also getting a churn rate and the churn prediction out of this in the dashboard, where you also see what are the drivers from this. So totally agree on this point. Then we have also the customer effort score and the CSAT. And I guess what the most people actually missed up is that the NPS is about asking for recommendation, which is quite great to use for driver analysis and also for prediction in the future. We have the CSAT and the customer effort score, which is measuring the satisfaction right now. And this is the main key differentiation where we have to keep an eye on this. And there are plenty others. I also had by my podcast a lovely discussion with Susanna, where she's talking about we should start measuring the emotion. And we all know that the emotion are the key factors in the CX as well. So why not use this? I guess it really depends what you like, what are your key metrics, and how you would like to do it. What I can say, there's not a differentiation if you're using the customer effort score, CSAT or NPS. It also totally depends on which touch point you're asking, right? Because if you're getting a parcel delivered, why you should ask about the recommendation, or if you have to give something back on the shop or something like this. So there's the intelligence where the CX professionals has to get in contact with experts like we have it or other institutes to get consultant how to do this, because it doesn't make sense to ask on all of the occasion the NPS. It really depends on the situation what you want to do. Yeah.
How would you translate, for instance, a very popular checkup, one of the shortest interviews one can take? You are leaving a toilet and are asked for the service quality, and you have these 5 faces. Yeah. Not 3, but 5, which is what I prefer. But that is depending on, they are not only to give you from that moment, you are leaving that place and you're pushing the button. Yeah. So
the thing is also in this case, I would then maybe ask about was the toilet clean, yes or no, or how you was satisfied with this, because this is quite an important question. If you're going to a toilet, it is important on an airport that the toilets are clean, and this gives the airport or the restaurants a quite important indicate if they have to maybe clean it more often, or if they have to hire a better cleaning service, right? I guess this is quite important, but there's also quite a stupid bias in, because as you know, I was doing all the terminals, so there are kids who are just clicking the buttons and something like this. I can tell you a lot of stories about the manipulation on this. Marshall, I just this comes to my mind where I also say that the NPS, but also I'm a big fan of the combination of CSAT, customer effort score, and NPS. It's a benchmark. So if you are maybe using your own satisfaction score, it's hard to compare with different industries or with your industries, because it's still an industry standard, I would say. And that's one of the reasons why I would suggest, if the management would like to have an industry benchmark in the industry, to use a much common standard where you can also compete with and compare with.
Can you give us a hint on the customer effort score as well, how that is constructed and measured? As NPS, CSAT, and CES you have utilized in your studies and have done some dedicated differentiations on those.
So in this case, it's let's start with an NPS, right? We have an 11-point scale from 0 to 10, and 9 and 10 are the promoters. Then we have the 7 and 8 for passive, and then we have from 0 to 6. I always have to visualize me the scale as a detractor.
Detractor is somebody who is not happy.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah,
Okay.
detractor is someone who's not happy, and then we have the people from the promoters, and you're taking the percentage of the promoters minus the percentage of the detractors. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
It's always from left to right. I always was seeing also recently an NPS where it's starting on the left side with a 10 and then a 0. And please don't start with color code this kind of stuff. And by the way, there's also in our benchmark study, and I'm sure we will also talk about this, there's a full explanation about everything. We also have lovely articles if someone would read about this. The customer satisfaction is really then the question, how satisfied are you with your organization? And it's getting calculated with the sum of the positive values divided for the full amount of people who are answering this kind of a question. And it's a typical satisfaction score. And then we have the customer effort score, which is actually asking then in this case, how easy this company makes to make business with them. And this is for me also quite interesting and always a quite good indicator if you have a bad customer effort score, that you have to do customer journey mapping, because if it's not easy making business with you, there's something wrong in the journey, right? And this was also the observation which I saw in the results themselves. Yeah. And the customer effort score is the sum of the people who answer this survey for the evaluation and the numbers of completes.
That is, yeah, Marshall.
No, it's just because I was looking through the results that you have in the study, and the one thing that links them all is that businesses are performing horribly.
Yes.
Everything is in the red. The only positive response in Net Promoter was restaurants, and that's less than 1.
Yeah.
0.84, I think, is what you have, where everything else is -9, -10, -50.
Yeah.
So, and maybe what are we doing wrong?
Yeah, and is there, if you look over time, has it recently developed in such negativism? As I was surprised that during COVID, we have had a lot of very emotional feedback, such as people were very grateful that they got their stuff delivered and the quality was nice. And now it's like somebody had hit the wrong domino piece and everything is falling down.
Yeah. I guess also COVID was quite emotional, right? Let's be honest with this. Everybody was shut down. If you get something, even getting delivered, this was a huge surprise. And I guess the people were there also more human beings, right? Or sometimes even the opposite if they are got crazy during COVID. But the results are horrible. And also for me, a question why we are getting this kind of results. But maybe, Ralph, I hope you don't mind, but I would like to give a little bit of context about this, because we three know about what we are talking. Because feel free to contact Ralph or Marshall or me. I'm more than happy to share the link where you can download the studies. And we recently did a benchmark study.
To put it into the comments after the show, so that everybody has the ability to download for his region, as you did it for the German-speaking territory and for the US, which we're reflecting on when we invited you, that we found this quite compelling and interesting, and said to us, hey, let's check it up.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you for this. And getting back to the point, so we were conducting in Germany and in the US a study. And the main reason was actually that I was talking to a lot of my customers, and they all got the question, our C-level was asking, what is a benchmark? And as you probably know, it's not that easy to get benchmark data, and mostly also not for your particular industry. And if you want them, you have to pay quite a lot of this. So that's why we were conducting, I guess, 1,200, something like this, in Germany and the US, that we also have a good amount, which is valid in the research field. And we were asking more than 22 industries. They had to do business with them in the last 3 months, which is also quite important from the methodic, that the experience with the organization is not so far away, and they have to be also a decision maker, 18 plus, to make business with this organization.
Mm-hmm.
And we had also good distribution. All the statistics can be found in the benchmark study themselves. And we run the NPS, CSAT, and customer effort score. And we will also do this in the MENA region and in UK. So if someone is interested in a specific reason, hit me. I would love to also run the study in other countries if there's demand for this. And yeah, you both are totally right. The results are horrible. I guess in the US, it's even a little bit better, but it's still alerting because you have to see this also in the US. The people are much more happy. Let's say, yeah, let's do this. Amazing. In comparison to our German market, which is, I would say, more pessimism. Ralph, I'm not sure if you can agree to this. But yeah, this is a study which we run. And I also put this actually down on the economy, which we have right now. But also the increasing of demand of the people, or maybe let's say this, it's a different demand which the people right now have, because customer experience, and I was talking to this today, has also a huge evolution. And the main, or a lot of organizations are not that fast with developing their experience for the customer. And I'm talking about omni-channel approach, about the future with AI. And I guess there are still a lot of gaps in how the new customer, which we are right now as well, would like to make business with the organizations. And I guess this is something where the company have to change, maybe check their personas, do some research, what our customers want to deliver the experience, which they have to do to actually survive. Because as you both know, it's quite critical to understand what is really the experience which our customers wanted to know from us.
Yeah. And there came to the point that if Thomas would have been here, he would have given a hint that the only place to find an honest decision maker is the customer himself. He decides what is a good experience. And we can try to understand his needs and his wishes and try to create something which probably can please her or him. Yeah. With the product, with the service. Now, saying this, you gave a hint that you are in combining these NPS, CSAT, and CES in your study. So it looks like you are a fan of the combination of the three. Is that true?
Yeah, kind of. But the reason why I was taking these three this is the most common one, right?
Okay.
That's why. Yeah, at least in my standpoint, I don't want to. Yeah, for me, it's the three most common one. This three, and this was also the three main metrics which our customers were demanding and asked, "Do we have something like this?" Yeah.
I prepared for our show today in participating also in a live recap, halftime approach from the CX radar from 2024 from Harald Henn and Niels Hafner. And I was struck by several observations. And one was the mentioning of score beggars, such as the ones you are having contact, what I have regularly in telecommunications with my mobile phone supplier and with the company which I'm using, which is not but another one. And and they are always asking, yeah, there will somebody ask you how happy you were with the explanation and the service as well. and I would appreciate for my salary that you give me good marks. That is for me a score backup.
Yeah.
Such as, how do I work with that shit? On the one end, I'm a nice guy. I'd love to give somebody who did good service that he gets some extra money. But on the other end, if you just recap that 15 minutes per hour call means 4 candidates you are interviewing or giving a service to, and then you have completely mix and of let's say experiences, and those all are biased to the tendencies such as, hey, give me a good score, please. Yeah.
I had the same in the automotive industry when I was getting my leasing car. They was doing exactly the same. Please give me a 5-star, because if I'm not getting a 5-star, I'm getting real problems. Because they will put this, actually the company is then putting this on the sales guy, because he has to deal with that the car was 1 year delayed from production, then there was different issues, certain products could not be implemented, but he was still actually begging me to that I give him a 5-star rating, because otherwise he's getting problems. And I guess the main issue is, what you're talking, and I'm seeing this as well for the baggings, also for online reputations, right?
Yeah.
Please give me a 5-star rating. It's a kind of a manipulation which C-level and the leadership was implementing, because they put this out, because the people on the ground, they cannot implement this. And this is the biggest mistake, to incentivize the NPS value, because then you're not getting real data. What the hell, why are getting managers incentive of an NPS? They will always try to push this down instead of, adjusting the skill, do color coding, change everything, that they're getting better money and that they're getting a better commission on this, instead of taking care of doing a better job in the customer experience field.
Yeah,
That's why I also don't like this telecom or this phone interviews, because it always have a kind of a bias that the people on the phone still think they're listening to me, or this guy which did the service on the phone, he will ask you the question. It's a kind of manipulation. That's why I like it more if after the touch point you're getting in moment of truth, maybe an email, and you can sit down and do it, or maybe even an SMS. But the people on the ground should not get, punished for doing something like this. They should get trained to actually do a better job and to serve better to their customer. But it's always the C-level, the management, which is the problem in this case.
One of the places I've seen that most is in rideshare apps like Uber or Lyft. I'm sure that we're all familiar with it, but you're given the opportunity to rate it on 1 to 5.
Yeah.
And if you rate anything under 5, the follow-up question is what went wrong.
Yeah.
But on a 5-point scale, 4 is pretty good. 3 should be average.
Yeah.
And yet everything is skewed towards 5s or 1s.
The question themselves is wrong. I got it, because they want to have an experience which is daylighted, which is also from the standpoint a great concept. Let's say this. But I totally with you, they should, ask, instead of what went wrong, what we can do better. And then maybe ask on a 2-point or 1-point or maybe 3-point, what went wrong, that you gave us this rating. But totally with you. If I have to give a 5-point, they probably have to open me the door, give me water when it's cold, when it's warm, be nice with me, play some good music, and be on time. But it can be, right? There's a rush hour, you are delayed. You maybe are too late to get your train, you are too late to get to work. Maybe something is full, then you're efficiently give a 4-point scale or a 3-point scale, where the driver or Uber cannot prevent this to get this. Yeah.
As Marshall was kind to point out already, that there are some gaps in the industries, and that he overall was getting concerned in seeing all the numbers going down. Can you help us a bit in probably showing us 1 or 2 slides you would like to present where we can have a visual impact on what we observed and give us a little comment between differentiations in the US and Germany. That would be pretty cool. Yeah.
Would
Show
love
us
to
some of
do
this
this.
bloodbath.
Let me see if I can do this. I just have to find the right.
It is that friendly button with present beside settings.
Perfect.
Yes, that sounds nice and looks good.
Oh, 1 second.
I would like to add it to stage.
Oh,
So
There we
1 second.
Oh, we
1
have-
second. No, it's the wrong one. Let me,
no problema.
because I have several one. Let me share an entire screen. It's much easier. So let's go then. This is a US study. As we always mentioned, you can download this and see this. These are the NPS values, where you also see the
I add this
distribution.
to stage if it's okay.
Mhm. Yeah, sure. Go
Good.
for it. These are the industries. Marshall, you were actually saying the restaurants, where I'm pretty proud because, I'm a restaurant lover because I was working a long, long time in this industry and I know how hard it is.
Wrong one.
What have you done, Ralph?
Oh. I
There
wanted to make this one larger. Sorry, my fault.
Not an issue at all. Yeah, but now everybody can see it?
Yeah, it's
Yes.
on stage.
Perfect. So as you see, this is the NPS value for the different industries which we was conducting. This was Marshall was highlighting. So you can see it's pretty bad in comparison how it should be, right? And looking on the other topics, we also have the 3 top industries which are promoting, and for the low promoters and the detractors. Have a look if you like it. Then we have the customer efforts, the customer satisfaction score, which is also not that good, let's say this. And then we have the customer effort score, how easy it is to make business with us, where you also see a huge red flag. So it's difficult to make business with the organization. The public administration, I would say, is the same like in Germany. It's pretty bad. But yeah. Another topic where we didn't touch it at all, which is also quite important if you're in the customer experience, is the importance of rating portals, online 6 reviews like Trustpilot, Google My Business, and so on, because it's actually really a purchase driver, because people go on these rating platforms and check the products before they are buying, because the opinion of other people's are getting more and more important.
Yeah.
Let me try that one here. That was okay before.
Oh, sorry.
No problem. That was I found now the right one if I want to make it full screen approach. So no problem at all. And now I would like, that's another one. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I'm playing around with the toys and the toys.
So many buttons.
Yes, and I'm not the one who touches them regularly. So it is interesting to see that there are these differences, that there are some areas which are concerning. And where would you say in the time frame where have been the most insightful differences over the years and in the territories? What struck you by first observing the data, aside of that was so negative towards earlier years?
Yeah. And the thing is, I was just conducting, I would need to check this 2022 or 2023, the benchmark study,
Yeah.
pretty much the same in Germany. Not in the US. This is the first time that we run this in the States. For my dear friend, actually Ken from Question Pro. And the point in Germany, and I'm pretty sure that it will be the same in the US, was really that the numbers were going down. And it was also not surprising me, because I'm also seeing this as a customer to make business with different industries, and that the companies are, getting distracted with other issues, like we have Europe, the war, we have the financial issues, we have the electricity issues, the gas problems, the government, and so on. So it was not surprising that the numbers went down, but I was not expecting that in both countries the numbers are that bad, to be honest.
You mentioned already that there are some areas, economical challenges, and the general peace on earth, inflation, that this is a challenger. If we go for an observation, I would like to share with you generally on if people are more willing to share their observations on product, service, and experiences they made. Would you agree that if we compare three regions, United States, Europe, and Germany, that they have in general different approaches in giving their marks for any of these measurements and benchmarks?
I would think so, yeah. I guess in the US are much more addicted into benchmarks. In Germany, we are seeing this as well, that the request of getting a benchmark in comparison is getting higher and higher. I would say that's for sure.
Would you agree to the statement I found in some observations I checked up, that the focus on innovation and integration and experimentation with new metrics is one of the key favorites in the US?
Oh, I have to pass on this. I'm not an US expert. Maybe Marshall, you can say something.
Oh, I can say something. I don't know if it'll be valid. But I find that encouraging, that there's work being done on new metrics and new relations between them. One of my go-to concepts is from W. Edward Deming's, which is he was an economist, and one of the points he made was that there are certain fatal errors that businesses can make. One of them is running the business only on visible numbers.
Okay.
So benchmarks, if you just run by the benchmarks, you're not going to be able to adjust and shift. It's another question of why do these things happen, and finding new metrics is probably the best way of getting at it.
One of those is the customer health score, for instance.
Yes.
And that they also look at the customer lifetime value, which is not a miracle, but it is interesting that this has been driven by the US.
It's also funny because we have also a customer health score, which is also quite important. But what I was saying is really the combination of metrics and also the new options. I was also talking about measuring actually emotion, because as you know, to making business, it's all about making emotion, a piece of emotion with the customer on one particular journey step. Like Starbucks is doing this, like Nike is doing this perfectly, like Apple is doing, something like this. So that's why it's so important to also say, we are adding a new metrics.
I would like to share also with you the observation from that study, such as in Europe, they testify that balanced approach to metrics and the customer experience as a brand differentiator is a very important piece of benchmarking in these areas in Europe. What's your thought on that one? Can you buy in?
Yeah, it's quite interesting. I would need to think about this.
In Germany, I know by own experience that they are very NPS, CES, and CSAT driven. So the customer-centric quality focus is existing. and they are really driven like mad by data privacy and compliance. And the easiest for them to adopt is that we have a long tradition of the NPS in Germany over here. So that the cultural context of NPS is in Germany quite vivid. So at least we are willing to tell something about how we felt about the service. What I see, what could be very helpful is that people take, in general, the approach to give some feedbacks and to make the people which are getting the feedbacks to make their life a bit easier, such as in giving them better assisting systems, such as we were aligned that the experiences with the score baggings we had in call centers. So if we help with smart assisting systems, like we found in Genesis and other organizations in their software packages, to educate the agents nearly on the fly, or give them a Wikipedia or a repository of answers to certain challenging questions, I believe that we dramatically would improve the happiness factor and the positive experiences. Marshall, what are you thinking about this? And then Thomas?
What am I thinking about that?
Yeah.
There's not much else I can say that you didn't. I agree.
Agree is fair.
Yeah. I mean, I understand the German skepticism of NPS for all of the reasons that we've just discussed.
Yeah.
In the US, I appreciate the experimentation with new metrics, but you're absolutely right in your assessment.
If you would utilize your favorite crystal ball to look into the future, Thomas, what would you foresee what might change in the next 5 years when we name one of the buzzwords out of the bingo, artificial intelligence, and how this could be a helpful hand or a pain in the neck to support experience measurements?
Yeah, quite interesting, because we also put something in place called Deep Dive, which is actually an AI. So you can imagine you have an NPS, then you have a driver, and you ask, okay, what was the driver to give us this rating? It can be also in CSAT or at the other scales.
Right.
And the AI will then actually do what Marshall also was saying on the beginning, ask the why. So you have to imagine they are saying, okay, they was happy, or they were saying they was happy, and then they were saying, okay, what was the best for you? It was a product. And what we are then doing with an AI is actually conversation AI. We ask certain questions and go deeper and deeper and deeper to really get then the root cause and really got the value proposition out of it. So this is something which definitely is something what drives us. Then for sure also the video feedback stuff, which we also implement, that a customer, because we are seeing, that people are tired from filling out long surveys, but the company is also doing a lot of mistakes. So instead you can give your voice of the feedback via video chat, which is also something which will come over the time more and more. Service will be shorter, faster. I guess this is one of the things. And maybe we're also testing this right now with synthetic data collection. So actually, you're collecting data with an AI. So this is what we are right now already testing out. This might be also quite interesting. But yeah, who knows? I guess AI will definitely drive us with new stuffs, also in the recommendation, in the driver analysis, in the open-ended answers. But I think the emotion stuff will get much deeper in the organization, because emotion is, if we talk about face recognition, it's quite interesting what's coming out there. We even played around with our terminals in this case, that, it recognized your face and it identified, is it a yellow smiley, is it a red smiley? But the emotion is something, I guess, where the software industry will increase. In my opinion, let's see. Let's talk in 5 years. We will see.
Oh, that leads into what I was going to ask, which is what do you expect within the next 5 years in the area of customer feedback and customer experience analysis?
Yeah.
Seems a good place to wrap up as any.
Yeah, I guess also in the qual stuff. So I think the key future will be really the journey management, to focus on this. Where it will also come a lot of AI with recommendation, what you can do better. We already have an AI implemented for you give a transcript from qual interview and it's built you a journey and analyze it. So there will come a lot of AI for analysts in qual and quantitator. Yeah, this is definitely something where I'm seeing this. Then the emotion or combination of new scales, Marshall, which you also mentioned, where I love that the US is always 3 steps before Germany, Europe, and test stuff new out and learn things. I guess that the measurement themselves will not change. It will be the different touch points where we will implement new technologies. We are right now a lot of implementing in WhatsApp that the organizations can ask feedback during WhatsApp, because in our regions or even in Dubai, there are so many customers who love to interact and give feedback from WhatsApp. But there will be also probably open spaces that you can give feedback to everything. And this is actually getting pushed to this right organization where it has to belong. So yeah, there will come some new cool stuff in the pipe, even by Question Pro. We are planning already the next hits.
It's interesting that artificial intelligence is starting to be used for this data gathering and interpretation. Is AI itself is something that we are still reacting to, trying to decide how it's satisfying us. So I don't have words really to describe the way those two are just coming at one another.
Agreed.
Pretty wild. So, Ralph, any questions?
No, the famous last question we have done, such as that is working on. I hope that you had felt the opportunity that we were open to the discussion on which could work best, and that we are grateful that you shared your perspective with that and give us a hint on the studies as well, and that we give a friendly hand to our audience, which Marshall is waving now in a minute, a friendly goodbye, that they can download those findings and dive deeper in detail.
Right. So we're putting those we're putting the studies in the comment list, right?
The links,
So
yes.
they'll be able to get to that. And I personally am looking forward to seeing what your next research is, because this is important stuff and it fascinates me. But I would have to say that is it for today. The CRM Convo is fading out. Thank you so much to Thomas Maiwald-Immer for your time and your insight and your study and just being a good guy in general.
Thank you so much, Marshall.
Thank you also to our audience for being with us. If you missed something here, or if you want to rewatch this or any of our episodes, we're on youtube.com/CRM Convos, all one word with a K. Tune in next week, if you will, when we dive into ROI and benefit-driven digitalization and AI projects. That will be with our guest Christian Becker from Proven Impact. Should be a great discussion. We hope you will join us for that. But until then, thanks again for your time and attention, and be well. We will see you again next time.
Thank you, Marshall. Thank you, Ralph, and audience.
A great pleasure for us, and I try to put in as well the comments on the benchmarking studies right now, so that it is at ease that the people can download. So thanks a lot, and hope to see you soon in good shape and health, and everything's fine. Bye, everybody.
Ralph, I just put you the links